In the wake of the water crisis in Flint, Governor Rick Snyder and water experts are proposing the state adopt the nation's toughest lead testing rules. Part of that includes replacing water pipes across the state.
Coming up, we're going to take you live to Grand Rapids with how much that will cost and who will be paying for it. But first, we want to turn to 24-Hour News 8's Marley Ginter with what the recommendations would require, Marley.
Well, Brian, it's just some of it would put our state in line with the World Health Organization. The changes are part of the governor's plan for a long-term fix to Flint's water crisis. The EPA requires water systems to take steps to control corrosion when lead concentrations exceed 15 parts per billion and more than 10% of customer taps sampled, while Michigan would have a limit of 10 parts per billion by 2020, and that is in line with the World Health Organization. The proposal would also require utilities to test all schools, daycare centers, nursing homes, and similar facilities.
In some ways, it's not a pilot, but in fact, Lansing was a great role model to do it. And what we're doing here is actually a great representation of people addressing this question more aggressively than the current law requires.
Officials say they would implement more stringent, broader notification requirements as well. Water systems would have to notify customers about higher lead levels in 2 days instead of the current 30-day standard. Now you can read the full proposal right now on woodtv.com. Brian and Sue.
Marley, thank you. We want to focus on that recommendation to replace every water pipe in the state. And if that sounds like a huge task, we're finding out that the price tag in Grand Rapids alone could top $95 million.
24-Hour News 8's Joe LaFurgey is live finding out who would pay for it. Joe?
Yeah, Sue, Brian, a lot of residents take advantage of a current City of Grand Rapids program. Residents like the folks living here on Jefferson Southeast, just north of Burton. It's a 10-year program, allows these residents to pay off the switch from a lead service line into their home to a copper one. 10 years at a very low interest rate. Now, this program is voluntary. That may change. Despite water quality reports that show Grand Rapids water is safe,
it's filtered so that I know it's safer.
Lisa Vandenbos, whose Southeast Grand Rapids home is of the lead pipe vintage, still takes extra precautions.
After the whole Flint thing, it's been on my mind about how it's going to get replaced and who else is affected by it.
Governor Snyder's Flint Water Task Force is concerned too. One of the recommendations released today, replace every lead pipe carrying water to homes and businesses in the state, not just the main and the road, but the connections that run to the house, between 17 and 19,000 in Grand Rapids alone.
If we do have, say, 19,000, it's going to be like $95 million on the homeowner side.
How to pay for them and the timeline is still to be determined, according to Snyder spokesman Ari Adler. Quoting here, we're dealing with public health, so we wanted to draft the best proposals possible, not just proposals that were easy to do, says Adler in a statement to 24-Hour News 8. Local communities may be able to tap into state and federal funds, your tax dollars, to cover part of the cost. In Grand Rapids, DeLong says the current program that gives residents 10 years to pay off a line switch may be used. But is it necessary? While Grand Rapids has the older lead lines, testing shows the city's water supply is way below acceptable levels when it comes to lead contamination.
Is this a solution in search of a problem?
Well, you know, we may be atypical in the state. You know, I think it's better to be safe than sorry.
And as Marley mentioned, we have the governor's full report and recommendations, as well as the city's water quality surveys at woodtv.com. Live in Grand Rapids, Joe LaFurgey, 24-Hour News 8.